access to laptops, desktop computers at home and work, the importance of kiosks seem to be more prominent, and also cyber cafes. Is a place where specialised kiosks. I'm not sure how they interact with that environment with that screen, as soon as there's no people there. Also, we're only too aware of the importance of these things in everyday life as ways of blocking out sound or keeping in touch, or just simply listening to one's favourite playlist of music. And a lot has been written about that, this notion that you're locking yourself away in a bubble as you move through the town. And then also lots of emerging practices, how people share these media, particularly as they travel. They do a lot of travel by train around the country. And so therefore yesterday I was travelling up and down to the south of England. And especially in the evenings, it gets a bit dim on a train. You get the glow from almost every seat or every other seat where somebody's operating with a laptop or looking at a movie on a phone, be it an iPhone or some other device. And other emerging practices, in this case, is intrigued to do sharing and uses and so on. And possibly something here about intimacy and about declaring space by virtue of your friendship, because you obviously wouldn't just pass your piece to any person, and certainly not a stranger. There's perhaps a declaration of friendship here, as these two tether themselves together and share a playlist, presumably. Just further examples of, I've become a bit obsessive about this, I suppose. I mean, this is from a conference I was at a few weeks ago. No sooner did something interesting happen, which might involve digital media, and all the phones came out, and all the cameras, and people were photographing digital spectacle, which includes photographing other people with phones, photographing the digital spectacle on screens and so on. This is two new phenomena, really. I mean, one is just obviously the ubiquity and pervasive nature. I'm sure he's grasping for a phone in his bag. But just random photographs in the space involved, it becomes only too apparent around these devices. But also there's something going on here. That was a scan, as it were, or a panorama image taken with not this camera, but just an ordinary, relatively inexpensive camera. These days you now can do that and do automatic stitching image to create a panorama, to sort of go away and post it somehow. So there's something there about the body and about bodily movement, and instead of holding a camera up here, as people seem to be doing with digital cameras, or down there, as people used to in certainly the pre-digital days, we used to have the viewfinder at the top. This is going way back to the 50s and possibly the 60s, and then also this posture. But anyway, now we've got that sort of posture and that use of these devices as cameras. And that's interesting in terms of how you claim space when you do that, and also, is it threatening when somebody's doing that in front of you? Perhaps you feel less threatened if they're doing that in front of you, photographing sort of random out of the landscape. So, panorama views would have implications, and certainly architectural implications. Obviously, there are ways of capturing space that are interesting. We've had panoramas for years, but now they're at everyone's disposal. You see student projects where people are using panoramas to either show off their own models and to create them CAD or physical models, or of course to help them understand some sort of space that they're working with. It's just another example. This is back just from the, you might recognise the environment. One of the great meccas in London, I think there's another one around Covent Garden, in the ecosystem, Regent Street so, and there's somebody looking at that. And what are the implications of those? Well, you do now, perhaps some of you have them, you see in use in space. And of course, we use these devices for navigation. And that's the case with this photograph. 15 years ago, and something of a novelty, and I feel quite self-conscious of standing there doing this. If you're in company, it's very difficult to navigate with GPS on a mobile device. And if your company person with you has a map or has no patience with these devices, then you see conflicts. This involves a fair bit of tapping around. You've got to wait for the GPS signal to register So social issues come into play as you're operating these devices. Well, what I want to do is just briefly focus on 6 sort of theory notions. I've sort of theorized some of this. It's not hopefully too theory heavy, but I like to theorize, or at least how do we tie some of these observations and phenomena together? And you can see that I've got comportment, everydayness, which is something I've introduced already, the notion of places to think with, technological interventions, and disturbing aspects, I guess, disruptive aspects, the notion of excursion, return, and design in the body. As I say, this is heavy, but and I've written about these things. Coming back to architecture, if we need to be convinced that architecture is about the body, then we ought to go back and look at Vitruvius, and perhaps you've been introduced to the famous theorist of design and architecture, Vitruvius, we usually call him, Vitruvius, writing around the time of the first millennium, about 50 AD, time of Emperor Augustus. He wrote about space and configuration and architecture and the classic orders, and he's the one who coined the notion of architecture, about being about being this commodity to life, and supposed to these things in natural history. Anyway, he also talked about the body in various ways. There's the famous Vitruvian man, which is the notion of the human form laid out on a flat surface with arms outstretched and legs astride, and then that being the centre of the formation of the circle, and then also you being able to form a square around the configuration. That's there in Vitruvius, and the Renaissance architects picked up on that. But also, lesser-known passages where he talks about issues of posture and comportment, and one of the distinguishing features that makes human beings, as I say, distinctive from animals, is that we can stand upright. Thus, it's the discovery of fire that originally gave rise to the coming together of men, to the deliberative assembly of social intercourse. So the fire brings people together around the hearth. There's a nice myth there about the origins of architecture. So as they kept coming together in greater numbers into one place, they found themselves naturally gifted beyond the animals, not being obliged to walk with faces to the ground, but upright and gazing upon the splendour of the star and the firmament. So we can stand up, we can look upright, we can look out, we can have aspiration, we can think beyond our immediate environment of the ground, which characterises animals as sort of staring and swimming on the ground. So there's something there about posture that's very important in understanding the development of the human form. And in fact, some anthropologists have looked at the development of the human form, and one argument, in fact, is put forward, obviously almost no reference to Vitruvius, but is the notion that with the human form being able to stand upright, that we configured the skull, and then there was something about the shape of the skull that what we call the brain pan was able to develop at a certain rate into a certain size, which gives the reckless humankind the capacity to grow its brain because of the larger gravity. So there's something there perhaps about physiology and about intelligence. Anyway, comportment is there, and that recurs throughout other sort of myths, and look into that. But certainly when, at the time of Darwin, people were producing diagrams that become not unlike this, it's a contemporary drawing of the evolution from the ape to humankind. And of course, then people joke about that and say, well, now we're in the virgin again. And then, well, you can't see that, but that's colony in second life. In fact, if your avatar isn't moved, then it falls asleep in the sun. Anyway, I guess the message here is that people comport themselves in spaces and situations in complex and interesting ways. We do that in any case. And certainly with digital cameras, we can sort of pick up on this interesting comportment, the way we use our body language, and use our bodies to convey how the language thing. And then, so there's the question of how these technologies impact on this comportment, on this posture, on this way we conduct ourselves. So we had that diagram of someone correctly sitting in front of a word processor or whatever, and that's how we're supposed to comport ourselves. But then also, if you see people sitting in front of those kinds of monitors, they do this, and they relax, which may not be healthy for their posture, but there's something about that in the way you sit. Also, laptops have introduced this sort of casual aspect to comportment, and there's a kind of a political aspect to this.